It is mailbag time here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Coming up in here just a couple minutes, we will answer all of your questions. So be sure to load those up with hashtag Bears or Super Chat. We'll get those questions in on the show. But first, really going to try and ramp up my social media this summer. The last couple of months, I'm still active, but with the baby coming and everything, haven't been able to do as much. But I'm really going to lock it back in, put more content on Twitter, put more content on Instagram. So support me. Give me a follow. I'm always answering your questions in the DMs as well. At HGramNFL on Twitter, at HGramNFL on Instagram. I'll probably work in some IG Lives at some point later in the summer as well, like I used to. Really had a good time with those. So if you want to give me a follow, at HGramNFL, both on Twitter and on Instagram. And hey, when you don't get your questions answered on these mailbags, social media is the next best place to do it. So appreciate the love and support as I continue to grow over there. All right, before we jump into this mailbag, I thought we would start with, a free agent that's still out there, and I think someone we haven't talked about enough. That's Melvin Ingram. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the edge position, and Ingram's one of the better ones still available on the open market. Now, Ingram last year with the Miami Dolphins as kind of a rotation rusher, pretty good, right? 6 sacks in 17 games as a rotation guy, 10 quarterback hits, had a forced fumble. Now, he doesn't give you a ton as a run defender, and, he's not going to play 75% of snaps, but maybe you don't want to invest bigger money in an edge, and you just want to get a rotation guy in here strictly. I think that's Melvin Ingram. I think he's a guy who could play 30 to 50% of snaps, bring him in sub packages, and just go rush the passer. Now, a little undersized for a 4-3, but again, certain packages, right, have an extra blitzer out there, and he can serve that role even if he lines up as an outside linebacker and you just bring him off the edge. I think adding to this unit could certainly help. You need guys who know how to rush the quarterback, and that's something Melvin Ingram's done pretty consistently throughout his career. I think he's a guy who come in, give you 5 or 6 sacks as a rotation guy, and that would help. That would have led you in sacks last year. Your sack leader, again, was Jaquan Brisker with 4 as a rookie strong safety. So I like the idea of Melvin Ingram, but what say you? Would you sign Melvin Ingram, the veteran pass rusher? Type S for sign or P for pass. Let me know in the comments. Curious to see what you guys think. Let's hop into this mailbag now. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. If you've got a question, we'll get it answered here on the channel. All you got to do is use the hashtag Bears or Super Chat function. From Matt Nagy, who gets re-signed to this sad team first? It's not sad, Matt. It was sad when you were here, but we're turning things around. Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, or Jaylon Johnson? I'm going to go Kmet 1, Jaylon Johnson 2, TBD on Mooney. I really think there's a good chance they're going to let the Mooney-Claypool thing play out and pick one. Maybe there's a scenario where both return beyond this year, but that would kind of surprise me, especially if Tyler Scott and or Velus Jones shows something, because then you don't need 4 receivers, right? Like, if you have 3 good ones and some decent depth pieces, you're good. So we'll see what happens. But, again, Kmet 1, Johnson 2, Mooney 3. Jaron Thomas, yo, Harrison, have you seen the big wide receiver, UDFA, Thyrick Pitts Jr.? Do you see him making the roster? I would be shocked if he made the roster. I mean, receivers that are for sure ahead of him already before practices even started. DJ Moore, 1. Darnell Mooney, 2. He's hurt, but he's still ahead of him. Chase Claypool, 3. Tyler Scott, 4, as you look at the depth chart now. Equinemius St. Brown, Velus Jones, Dante Pettis. You're 7 deep before you even get to Pitts. I mean, I don't even have Pitts on the 3 deep there because I just had other guys ahead of him. Simba Webster's a guy who's been here. Darius Fountain's a good special teams player who's been active on NFL rosters in the past. So, yeah, I just don't see him making this football team. But, hey, that's what the offseason is for. He's got time to prove himself. Jason M., do you think Poles is waiting to see how his picks Smith and Stevenson play before he pays Johnson? It's certainly possible. I mean, he didn't draft Jaylon Johnson. There could be a million reasons. One, maybe Ryan Poles has a timeline of when he likes extending guys. Certain GMs do. Like certain teams, like the 49ers, for example, they typically pay guys right around training camp, regardless of their status. So, Nick Bosa, sometime in the next month and a half, will 2 months will probably get paid because that's their timeline. Maybe Ryan Poles has a window of time when he likes doing that, but maybe he wants to get into the season and see how these other corners play. That's possible as well. Maybe he just needs to see more out of Jaylon Johnson. There could be a million reasons for what it is. I'm comfortable paying him. I've seen enough. I didn't draft Jaylon Johnson, though, and neither did Ryan Poles. So lots of things to consider. From Andres, there's a report regarding the Commanders shopping Chase Young. With it being almost a month since Ryan Poles has flirted with the idea of getting an edge, is Young still an option? Look, Ryan Poles specifically mentioned when he was asked almost a month ago, to your point, are you going to sign an edge rusher? He was asked that directly from, can't remember which Chicago radio show it was. I think it was 670 The Score. Forget which show. But he answered with maybe, and then he went out of his way to say there's some guys on the trade market that are interesting. Got to think Chase Young was at least on his radar at the time, and now that Washington is apparently open to shopping him, do you revisit that? I think it's something you consider, especially if you can get him for, not a first-round pick. I would not trade a first for him, but third, I might take the swing. I think, number 2 overall pick for third-round pick, I might take a chance there. Subscribe to the channel. If you did not see this mailbag live, that's because you weren't joining us live, and if you want to join us live, best chances to get reminded, right? So subscribe and hit the notification button. If you do that, you are going to get notified when we go live. So join the movement, join the channel. We're growing every single day. Sanders, Pat, Lollipop. Any scenario where Akiem Hicks returns to Chicago? I feel like that ship has sailed, to be honest. Injuries have piled up. He's older. The last regime didn't bring him back last year. Now, I was surprised at the contract Tampa gave him. He got a pretty nice incentive deal, but I just don't see him being back here. He had a good run in Chicago, though. You look at his 6 seasons here, 247 tackles, 51 TFLs, 31 sacks, 88 QB hits, 5 forced fumbles. He was kind of the heartbeat of this defense for a while, but he's old. He's got a lot of injuries. That minimum to be a mentor type and be a rotation defensive lineman, I wouldn't be opposed. I just don't see Ryan Poles going that route. Now, if you missed peak Akiem Hicks, think like 2017, 2020, kind of that gap there, type me. I mean, he was a damn good player, damn fun player as well. Talked a lot of shit, which you love out of your defensive lineman. Just a fun guy to have around as well. I certainly missed those days, at least watching him play. I don't miss a lot of those teams, to be honest, but I would love to have some of those defenses with hopefully where this offense is going. Daily basis with another 2. Appreciate it. Do we still find a C center if Cody Whitehair plays well in 23? It just depends, right? If Whitehair plays good this year, he could still be the guy beyond this season. He's getting older. He's probably year to year at this point, but we'll see. If he plays well, I can tell you this, Lucas Patrick won't be here beyond this year. I feel pretty confident in saying that. But, maybe they like Doug Kramer's development at that point. Maybe they say, hey, keep developing. Once Whitehair walks away, we think you can be the guy. So that's certainly possible. It's also possible that even if Whitehair is your starter entering 2024, that you draft someone next year to start developing if you don't think Kramer can be that guy. From Henderson, when do you think the Bears will make a move for the edge rusher? Hopefully right now. 3, 2, 1. Did they sign someone? Let me check Twitter. They did not. But hopefully soon, man. But, it doesn't have to be a huge rush. Like, we've seen the Bears sign guys right before training camp, during training camp, right before the season, guys who have had an impact. Remember Jason Peters a couple years ago? They signed him like 2 weeks before the season. He was your best offensive lineman that year. So, I'd like it to be sooner rather than later, but we got to be patient. Chris Aldridge, would you support another team if Chicago had another team in the state? Like, okay, the scenario where you're like the Bears move to Arlington and Soldier Field gets an expansion team or something, I wouldn't be against that team. That's not a team that I would focus on. I'm going to follow the Bears, to the burbs, wherever they go. So that's my focus. But I wouldn't be against another team. I don't think it'll happen. I just don't, at least not anytime in the near future. But look, you never know. I didn't expect LA to get 2 teams that relocated, and it happened. So weirder things have gone down. Scott Osborne, do you think Andre Schmidt is a legit threat to Cairo Santos, or could Robbie Gould come back? What is the delay in signing Stevenson and Dexter? So let me answer the second part of that first. So a lot of chatter around NFL circles, and this is not just a Bears issue. Second-round picks are becoming the hardest ones to sign, and here's why. First-round picks get fully guaranteed contracts. Teams just do it, fully guaranteed. Like Darnell Wright, fully guaranteed deal. Last year's draft, the cutoff for fully guaranteed contracts into the second round, I think it was like the 39th, 40th, 41st pick, somewhere in there. I think it was actually right before Kyler Gordon. I don't think he got one. I'd have to go double check. Well, second-round picks and their agents, they're trying to push that back later into the second round. Like, agents are trying to get fully guaranteed deals for their guys. So Stevenson went 56 overall. Dexter went 53 overall. Their agents are trying to get fully guaranteed deals. And, hey, they should. They wouldn't be doing their job if they weren't. So that's why some of these teams with second-round picks haven't signed their guys yet. But it'll get done before training camp, I assume. Ben Seaton, what if Claypool and Mooney have similar numbers by the end of the season? Who would get an extension? How good are the numbers? Are they both great similar numbers? Are they bad similar numbers? Are they decent? Here's another option we haven't discussed. You could pay one and franchise tag the other one, and then let that guy walk after that. Whoever gets the tag is probably not going to be happy, but there's a lot of options. The Bears, let me make clear, they can pay both. They have a ton of cap space next year and beyond. I just think logically, like, if DJ Moore's your long-term one, like, are you going to pay Claypool and Mooney wide receiver 2 type of money? I don't know if that makes sense, especially for a team that even if Fields takes a big step forward, like, this team still wants to run the ball too. So we got to see it play out. But if I had to guess, if they're very similar, they might lean Claypool because that's who this regime traded for. And he's a different stylistic receiver compared to DJ Moore. Appreciate all the questions today. Go follow me on social media at HGramNFL on Instagram and on Twitter. If you didn't get your question answered here, you can hit me up over there, trying to ramp up my social media. So show some love, show some support, and love engaging with you guys over there. At HGramNFL on both platforms. Come check us out.